welcome to the iRally preview for the final round of the 2011 FIA World Rally Championship. It is Wales Rally GB, and what a Wales Rally GB we're set for. What an incredible finale to this year's World Rally Championship we have got coming up here in Wales. Now, where are we this time round? We're not based in South Wales as we have been for the last 8 or 10 years or so. This here is the Great Orme. This is where it all kicks off on Thursday evening. Do you know this stage here? It's a tarmac stage. It hasn't been used as part of, well, Rally GB, RAC Rally, whatever you want to call it. Hasn't been used for 30 years nearly. That's almost before I was born when it was last used. It is a heck of a challenge. As you can see, it winds its way around this outcrop of rock here in North Wales. It's a tarmac stage. That's going to be interesting on gravel tyres. Only 4 and a bit Ks long, run twice to start the rally. My goodness me, what a way to start this year's Wales Rally GB. We then head Friday into some stages that again haven't been used before on Wales Rally GB. Maybe 1 or 2 of our drivers might have experience of Friday's stages. The Bulldog Rally, one of the British Championship rallies, has run around those stages a few times in the past. Jari-Matti Latvala is a man who's been there on the Bulldog. Tell you who's been here on the Great Orme as well. Mikko Hirvonen. He did a promotional video for Ford here. Is that going to give him the advantage he needs? The other thing is, they go straight from here, from the Great Orme, to the Cloycenog. Is that how you say it, cameraman? Cloycenog stage. Now, Cloycenog, that's another one, which is a blast from the past from Wales Rally GB. But everyone other than Hirvonen has no experience of that stage. Hirvonen was zero car there, 3 years ago when it was part of the Cambrian Rally. Small advantages, but perhaps the advantage that Hirvonen needs in what is going to be a titanic battle with Sebastian Loeb for this year's Manufacturers' Championship. Sorry, Drivers' Championship. The Manufacturers has been decided already. Citroën have pocketed that one. What we're going to do, by the way, we're going to go and have a look at that. Say that name again. Cloycenog stage. We're going to have a look at that. Have a look at the conditions the drivers might expect, and then we'll talk about the permutations for this year's Drivers' Championship. Who can win it? Well, it's one of 2 men, isn't it? It's Loeb, it's Hirvonen. But first of all, let's head off to
Cloycenog,
and we'll take a look at that stage, see what the conditions are like there. Well, the Great Orme, that really is going to be a heck of a start to the 2011 Wales Rally GB. But then we come to the forests, and that's what this rally is known for, isn't it? Really, the Welsh forests, wet, muddy, cold, foggy, maybe even snowy, maybe icy. Who knows what the weather's going to be like. But stage 3, so remember, they've come from the tarmac of the Great Orme, they come to the Cloycenog, something like that, forget about the pronunciation, all strange Welsh names, Cloycenog forests for stage 3, and this is where we are just now actually. Not been used for Wales Rally GB for a very, very long time indeed. Really the only driver with any experience of this stage is probably Mikko Hirvonen. He drove the Cambrian Rally, as we mentioned a little while back, as the zero car. He's actually been through this stage 3 or 4 times in the past. He will know this stage better than anyone, but still he probably hasn't got pace notes for it. But have a look at this. This is what Wales is all about. It is all about fast forest tracks, and this really typifies what we can expect during the rally. Look at the mud here. Obviously we're in a logging section of the forest, a section that's been recently logged. If you could just smell the lovely pine from these cut pine logs here, it really does smell great. But when they're stacking these logs, the trucks that are bringing the logs in, they pull all sorts of rubbish onto the surface. Generally this is very hard underneath, but with all, well, the bark, the twigs, all the mud that gets pulled out, it gets very, very slippery. Cars will come down here at full pelt. You'll hit this mud, and if you're not absolutely committed, well, thank goodness it's not on a corner. But throughout the course of the rally, there are lots of sections like this where you come through what is good grip sections, and then you'll come to an area that's been logged, and it is slippery as slippery can be. I don't know if you can just make out as well, just on the right side of this downhill section, there's quite a deep ditch. You don't have to go far offline, and you're into the ditch and in all sorts of trouble. We've seen so many drivers in the past in this rally, once we get into the forests, really having problems on these tight, narrow sections where the logs are stacked, where the surface gets very, very slippery. We talked for a second there about what we might expect with the weather this weekend. It's very, very difficult to forecast. Right now, 8 or 9 days before the rally starts, it is warm. I don't really need this jacket. It's a beautiful, beautiful late autumn day. 15, 16 degrees. Think back to a few years ago in mid-Wales where we had snow and ice. Last year's Wales Rally GB, the following week, there was a foot of snow on the stages. Anything could happen this weekend in terms of the weather. We've seen weather in here in the past where you can hardly see your hand in front of your face. I think that could be a big determining factor in the outcome of Wales Rally GB. And the outcome of Wales Rally GB could well decide the outcome of the 2011, well, it is going to decide the outcome of the 2011 Drivers' Championship. So, who's going to win here in Wales? Who's going to win the 2011 Championship? Requires a bit of thought. So the Welsh Forest stages this year will be just as challenging as ever. And well, this year's World Rally Championship has been just as challenging as ever. And the 2011 Drivers' Championship comes down to the very last rally of the year, to the final 330 kilometres, to the final 23 stages. It is going to be a battle royal here in Wales between Mikko Hirvonen and Sebastian Loeb. Loeb going for win number 68, more importantly going for world title number 8, and Mikko Hirvonen going for his first ever title. We've been in this position before, remember 2009, where there was 1 point separating the drivers going into Wales Rally GB. This year there's 8 points, makes it a little more interesting. Ford have got to win this one, and it's got to be Mikko Hirvonen that wins. Jari-Matti Latvala has to support him here and get himself between Hirvonen and Sebastian Loeb. Loeb can afford to play the game of, well, just waiting and seeing what happens this weekend. He can't afford to give the Ford boys too much of an advantage here, but he can be a little more conservative. I have to say, I think his attitude will be very much to go for the win here. I don't think he'll be looking at anything other than the win, Sebastian Loeb. But as I say, Hirvonen absolutely has to go for the win. And well, on recent form, that's a big ask for Mikko Hirvonen. Latvala has been supremely quick. Hirvonen has lacked pace this year, but we know he can do it. He came within a hair's breadth, some would say within a bonnet pin, of winning the title in 2009. Remember, that pin came loose, the bonnet pinged up, Hirvonen lost the rally by, just a fraction of seconds, when Loeb, if you remember as well, had turbo problems on that last loop of stages. Hirvonen will forever look back on that if he doesn't win the title this year and think, well, what might have been had it not been for that bonnet pin. But we do have 8 points separating our top 2 drivers this year. I tell you what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict it's going to come down to the power stage. I think Hirvonen might win this, and I think Latvala might be second. Loeb third. It then becomes very precarious indeed for Sebastian Loeb. It will all then go down to the power stage. Who knows what's going to happen here? We have the unpredictability of the weather. The new stages, remember, Friday stages, new to everyone. Thursday night stages, more or less new to everyone. We've got the weather, as I say. We don't know what's going to happen there. We've got the engines. That's the engine in the Citroen has looked a little bit suspect. Ogier's engine blowing up on the penultimate stage in Spain just a couple of weeks ago. Loeb with his engine problem in France. It's interesting, isn't it? Ford are on their second engine for the year. That's supposedly how many are allowed. Their engine's a bit older, isn't it? Hirvonen's engine is right at the end of its life. Loeb, with that engine problem he had in France, has got almost a brand new engine in that car. What will happen with the engines? What will happen with the weather? What will happen with the new stages? It is going to be a nail-biting finish to the 2011 Drivers' Championship. Come to beautiful Wales. Look at this place. It is utterly glorious. The hills of North Wales, the mountains of Mid Wales is where the championship is going to be decided. Follow it all on iRally. We'll be chasing them around the stages, having a lot of fun here in Wales. Join us for the final round of the 2011 World Rally Championship on iRally.